Yes.
Okay. Do you know anything about that?
To the Crown Temple.
What is the Crown Temple? You're going to have to excuse my ignorance. What is the Crown Temple? Is this Masonic Lodge?
Well, no. It's as I understand it, there are three unique points on the Earth, the Crown Temple being one of them, that exists as about a square mile of London as some sort of a private corporation.
All right, that's known as a city. Then they refer to it as
City of London.
City, right?
That's what it is.
Yeah. And the other 2 points are Vatican City and Washington, D.C.
Well, let's ask Bob. Can you elaborate on that at all?
I can't go any further than what you have because I don't know. It's one of the mysteries out there that I've never gotten into. We just know the important thing, and that is that the royal families of Europe control the Illuminati, and there are many around them, such as the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, and so on. And the intimate nuances that exist out there, we know most of them, but we don't know a lot about that.
Okay, Mike, anything else before we let you go?
Well, good enough for now.
God bless. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. And, of course, we're going to go to Steve from Orange County. And hi, Steve, are you there?
Yes.
Do you have a question for our guest?
Yes. I wonder how come. Now I know, and my friend Sally Bowman in the Inland Empire know that it's not the right time to buy a house, but
hold that thought right now, and just be back in just a moment here. Well, this is Dr. Stan here, and our guest, of course, is Bob Chapman from the International Forecaster. We have Steve, who's calling us from Orange County, and he had a question about, if it's not the right time to buy a house. What was the question, Steve?
Well, when do you think the collapse will be to the point where it'll be the right time to buy?
All right, fine. The question is, when would be a good time to buy a house, since probably the prices are going to fall a good deal more than they are today? What do you think on that, Bob? And how will Steve know when the right time is, other than, of course, reading the International Forecast?
Well, I think that we have 2 years to the downside, and that should work out to be about another 20% drop overall, and that's probably going to be it. But the important thing is not that that's the bottom. The important thing is this bottom going to be there for 5 or 20 years? You know, the return on investment is very poor in a house unless you have a rising market, and you're not going to have that for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, to tie up a lot of money in a house, which you have to fix, and you have to insure, and all of the things that you have to do to, be in it and own it, I don't know that at this point in time it's something that you want to do unless you have to have a house. Now, if you live in an apartment and you got 3 or 4 children, you really want to try to get in a house, even though you know it's not going to go up in value, because you need the room, and you're going to have to make the repairs yourself, etc. But
I don't have 3 or 4 children. I'm single.
All right, fine. Well, then
if you
hold off.
Have 1 or 2 people, you don't need a house.
Okay, hold off for the time being, Steve, and just keep listening. Hey, thanks very much for calling.
I will.
Bye-bye, and let's go to Joe, who's calling from New Jersey. Hi, Joe. Do you have a question or comment?
Yes, and I have a question, and it's in regards to Bob Chapman's estimation of where we're headed for this one world order. And I don't think for 1 minute that this is going to be deterred. I think it's going to come to place. And I'm wondering if, in fact, when all this finally is settled and they finally got what they want, this one world order, whether in fact it will have anything to do with what Scripture says. And Scripture says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, where Paul is speaking to the Thessalonians, and he says that But of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Well, I think you're probably right. I think that we're seeing the fulfillment of prophecy from that point of view. Do you have any thoughts on that, Bob?
Well, I agree as well. The only thing is that, we're not going to know until we get there. And when we get there, we don't know exactly what to expect. And will God be with us, come to earth? Will there be a second coming? We don't know those things. What will happen before that, besides economic and financial calamity? Will there be a great war and then wars among states or wars within states? Will half of more of the people in the world die? There's a whole bunch of things to fit into that. We really don't know.
We don't know the timing. Certainly these things could come to pass soon. They could come to pass in 50 years from now. But it's going to be very interesting. Anyway,
yes,
thanks very much for calling, Joe.
Well, could I just add one little
Sure, go ahead.
here?
Go ahead.
Yes, and this is this thought. You see, if you notice, right after that, he says, sudden destruction will come upon them as travail upon a woman with child. He likens it to a birth.
Right.
Now, I have this idea about this. I think Christians will know the timing of this birth, but not the day or the hour. Any woman who is pregnant knows when she's going to give birth of the year and the month, but no doctor even knows what day or what hour.
Well, we may be closer than we think. We'll just wait and see. But God bless, Joe, and please
okay, God
people
bless.
back there in New Jersey listening.
Bye.
And bye-bye. Okay, we've got Eddie calling from Enterprise, Alabama. Hey, how you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing fine, Dr. Stan. Great show, by the way. I have a question for Bob Chapman there. On Friday in Jefferson County, Alabama, they canceled their credit default swap for the county bankruptcy, the bond that they haven't paid on. What exactly does that mean? It involved J.P. Morgan and Bear Stearns.
Do you have any idea what that's about, Bob?
Well, I think I know the case. And I think...
Hold that case. Hold that thought. Well, this is Dr. Stan, and certainly Eddie was calling from Enterprise, Alabama, and apparently the local community had canceled a default swap. Now, could you explain, Bob, how can you cancel a default swap? I thought this was a contract, and what's really going on?
Well, I think that what J.P. Morgan did was entrap them in a deal that was really preposterous. And these people are trying to find a way out. And Morgan doesn't want to get exposed for what they've done. And the government is involved. They don't want the county to go under. And they've been fooling around with this thing, I guess, now for 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. So I don't know what's going to come of it. And it was canceled. They're probably in negotiations again. I don't know. I've seen nothing, you get local newspapers here, so you would see things that pertain to that. But I don't, because I don't get those papers, nor has there been any national news recently on it. So
all right, now, basically,
it's in process.
Did this county or this community buy a bond of some sort or issue a bond? What's that all about? Do we know?
Well, they got involved in credit default swaps.
Okay. But
and,
that usually...
it went against them.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and,
I see.
They've gotten buried by Morgan, is what it amounts to.
All right, fine. In other words, they bought a credit default swap thinking it was going to be an insurance policy for them, and it turned out that Morgan wouldn't stand behind it. Is that it?
More or less. That's it.
All right, Eddie, does that answer your question?
I don't think there was any chance it could work.
Anything else, Eddie?
What it was a sewer upgrade debt is what it was.
Right,
For upgrade of the sewer system of the city of Birmingham.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can't trust J.P. Morgan or any of these large banks, and they're based upon faith. Do not put your faith in them, and in fact, stay away from any of these complicated financial arrangements, because I think they're all going to come cascading down one of these days, and that'll probably bring down the whole financial system. Anyway, God bless, and thanks very much for calling, Eddie.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, fine. My telephone number again is 1-888-24-LIBERTY, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, or 464-8295 if you have a call for Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster. But we are living in some of the most exciting, dangerous, really challenging times, at least of my life. We'll be back in just a moment here.